I'm Alison Taafe, the Sassy Chef, and welcome to Cooking with ASCA. We're going to make a tuna and fancy coleslaw wrap today. Everybody needs to get a bit fancy every so often. So today I'm going to make a coleslaw with various types of cabbage and silver beet and carrots to get all those vitamins and minerals and colours into the dish. Plus I'm going to add some tuna fish to add some really good fats and some omega-3s, good brain food for the kids. Not only is this one healthy, but it's really attractive as well, and most of all, it's so simple to do. Okay, so let's get started. We're going to take some white cabbage and red cabbage, so we mix up the colours a little bit there as well. And what we need to do is, I've cut the cabbage into quarters, so make them into manageable pieces first. And you've got a nice piece of cabbage around the outside, but you've got this awful stalk in the middle. So I tend to put that on the angle, and I cut away that stalk, and babe, just get rid of it basically. To make this easier and safer, cut it down into smaller pieces. What you're going to do is shred the cabbage. Now, if you wanted to use a machine for that, if you're lucky enough to have an electrical machine to shred, then go for your life. If you're going to use knives, you're going to break this cabbage down into smaller pieces, so it's not too dangerous, and you're going to shred very gently using a little action just like so. Just make sure you're careful of your fingers on this one as well. But yeah, nice and fine. And basically we're going to shred up the white and red cabbage around about the same thickness, so not too chunky, otherwise you won't be able to roll the wrap. Sounds like a song, doesn't it? Roll the wrap. All right, so I've just got that in my... And you need to take a big bowl so you can mix it all up, because the tuna and all the cabbages are going to go into the same mix. Here's some I made earlier, so I don't want you to get bored while I'm doing this, but I've got some red cabbage just here that's going in, nice and finely shredded as well. And that's going to go into that mix so that you can see there's a nice colour arrangement happening as we speak. And also we're going to put some grated carrot, which I've done as well. So just on a normal grater, or if you've got a machine to do that, then that's lucky for you. Just pop that in there as well. Now you're probably all saying, oh, I don't know why I'm watching this, I know how to make coleslaw, it's easy, but I'm just going to put a few tricks in there as well, just to help this up a little bit. So I'm going to put some pepita kernels in, these little pumpkin seeds, adding a little bit of natural great fat as well, and some fibre for the kids. And also it means that you're not using nuts, but you're getting that lovely crunch as well, which is great. Sunflower seeds are going in as well. Basically, I do this to cheat my husband into eating healthy foods. He doesn't know they're in there, so you can sneak them in, and the kids are the same. They're not going to know, because they're just going to eat it and think, wow, it's delicious. But inside, you've hidden all this lovely healthy stuff, which is great. So you've got all those seeds and sultanas, that lovely colour. Now, for a bit of sweetness, I'm going to add a Granny Smith apple. Okay, so cut that into quarters. And all you're going to do is just, on an angle, just cut out the core, like so. Get rid of that. Smooth that out of the way so you guys can see. And just cut those into two, and then just cut those into nice little slices as well. And also you can grate the apple as well if you wish, if it makes life easier for you. Now we're just going to bind that with some lovely mayonnaise. We're going to use some whole egg mayonnaise. If you wanted to lighten it up even further, you could use a sour cream, but if you've got kids that are dairy intolerant and lactose intolerant, then maybe stick with the mayonnaises. Like I say, natural yogurt and sour cream are great as well if you wanted to go down that track. All right, so we've got lovely colour in there, we've got all our ingredients in, and what I do is season it a little bit of sea salt in there, just a little bit. Just go easy on the seasoning because you're using tuna fish, and tuna is naturally salty and you don't want to add too much extra salt. Plenty of pepper in there. Okay, and what I'm going to do is just maybe put a little bit of silver beet through there as well. It's another sneaky thing I do for Steve, is to hide some other natural greens in the coleslaw. He kind of doesn't know it's in there, but he eats it and thinks it's delicious. So what we're going to do here is we're going to do a bit of a chefy thing called a chiffonade. We're going to roll up the silver beet nice and tight. And once again, I took out that centre stalk because that's a little bit bitter. So I took that out. What we're going to do is just make a nice shred. It's like my mum used to do when she used to do those prawn cocktails with the shredded lettuce. I always think of her when I do this. So a little shred of green. You can use kale, or you can use a Savoy cabbage, or you can use silver beet there, whatever, or even some fresh spinach, whatever you like. I'm going to use some mayonnaise, like I said. I'm just going to use a little bit just to bind it. And I'll just start the binding first before I add the tuna fish. So just put a little bit of mayo in there. Beautiful. And take some time, just lightly toss that through. And already you see it's got all that beautiful colour and texture in there, lovely sweetness of the apples and carrot. And you've got the crunch in there as well with that lovely seed arrangement, and the sultanas add a little bit of sweetness as well. So just mix that through. And then basically you can add chicken to this, you can add any kind of seafood to this, and if you don't want to use seafood, you can use ham. Tending to use tuna because from the economy point of view, the taste is fantastic and kids love it, so there's no real reason not to use it. So let's just pop that in there. So just mix that through. Now I suggest that you, if you're not going to use this straight away, you're going to keep this in the fridge around about 3 or 4 degrees because you are using seafood. We are going to make the wraps reasonably close to when you're going to serve them in your tuck shops and canteens. So we're going to make them, wrap them up and put them in little plastic containers to keep them nice and moist as well. Plus we're going to use some grease-proof paper too. Okay, so I'm going to use a wrap here. These wraps are really nice because they're scrunchy. We get these from Mission and they're great. You can get them from the supermarket or any of your suppliers. We're going to lay that on some paper so that we can roll it as well. And I will show you pretty much how easy that can be. And now I'm going to put some gloves on. I hate wearing gloves, you probably do as well, but you know what it's like. You have to be seen to be obviously being hygienic at every point, especially when you're handling food for kids. So let's put our gloves on while we handle this. Okay. I'm just going to pop a little bit of this in the centre of the wrap, making sure we've got all our colours in there as well and all our tuna. Now you can put some shredded lettuce on that as well. I've chosen to put the lettuce inside or the silver beet inside, but you can put that actually shredded on the top if you wish. Now you're going to fold the wrap over nice and tight and you're going to roll it in and you're going to tuck it in, almost like you're tucking your kids into bed. Tuck it nice and tight and then you can then wrap it into the paper, just like you're going to wrap up a Christmas present. So do it on the angle, just like so. Fold it in both ends nice and tight. And as you're rolling it, you're scrunching it at the same time. Now they'll stay in the fridge for you for a couple of hours because not only is that paper helping to hold it together, but it's also helping to keep it hydrated and moist. So what I tend to do is pop a little elastic band on each one, just on each end, and I'll show you why. I'm a genius, that's why, but this is going to help you, okay? Then you're going to use a serrated edge knife to cut this in half. And then what happens is you get this beautiful wrap and it stays together. Because I have seen people try to do this and it kind of unravels and everyone gets a little bit upset with themselves. So if we put that there, turn it up, you can see the beautiful colours on our wrap, all inside. The kids get excited about it. It looks good and it lasts in the fridge for a couple of hours. So you can make those at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock in the morning and have them for lunch, and they're healthy, great, and everybody loves them. So I think you'll find that's a nice, easy thing to do, and I think you'll find that that's a wrap. Thanks, guys.